going to be attending art college. And then we have our exhibitions. And the exhibitions, we have 9 a year. So for the summer, that's about 4 of them. So the grant application, if you look at the funding request, is for overhead, and then it's for staff and our summer art camp that we have had. This year we're having it virtually. Last year we had it virtually. That's been going on for 18 years, and we anticipate doing one in person, we hope, in 2021. The other thing that I would say that I think is key is that we've changed our business model, not only because of COVID, but we've put more responsibility onto our board members to do the business functions, and then the gallery director to be more focused on relationships with artists, making sure the shows are beautiful, and doing those sort of things. And then we have Summer Peterson, who is focusing on marketing, and she's actually the one who created our online system and is doing the different marketing functions. And I did include our marketing report so you could see how we're trying to focus on enhancing our marketing, because that's how we make sales and support our artists. And that's I'll stop there.
Great, thank you. That's great. So and I appreciate we're all navigating these presentations by Zoom for the first time. So thanks for your awareness of time. And then also just we can open it up if there are questions from the committee members about anything related to the application or what was presented here. Yes.
Quick question. Did you mean to say that you were hoping to have the summer camp in person in 21 or in 22?
I meant 22, thank you.
21 pretty soon. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? And I have to scroll through to see all of the committee members. So if you put a hand up and I don't see it, please just speak up if you have other questions. All right. Great. Well, thank you so very much. We appreciate your application and your time. And if we don't have any other questions, I think we'll.
Lila, did you say you had another member of your Arts Association group who was planning to join?
Yes, I did. Like
Summer's on.
Oh, there's Summer.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
That's Summer.
And we have a couple more minutes. So if there's anything she'd like to add, we've got like another couple minutes here.
Summer, do you want to talk a little bit about how we've changed our focus and like why we submitted a projector and the kinds of things that we're doing in the gallery in addition to what we've done historically?
Yeah, so with the pandemic and things, we've kind of changed our focus to be more virtual. So we're hoping to get a new projector so we can upgrade our educational program to do workshops online that are just clearer and translate better. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Any additional comments or questions for Summer? Okay, great. Well, thank you both so much for being here, and we will. You'll be hearing from us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I want to be sensitive to the fact that we're folks have a scheduled time. I want them to have the option to go since we're a little ahead of schedule, but we can also pause if folks want to just stay with the scheduled time. So the next group is Cannon Beach Chorus. If they're here and ready to go, that's great. Otherwise, we can pause. People can get a glass of water or reconfigure if they need to, and we'll start.
Looks like Barb's got a question there.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to check and see if Les was at City Hall.
Yeah, Les Sinclair's here at City Hall.
Yeah, I think we're all here. Thanks for checking.
He's keeping me
Thank
company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, thanks. And also, if the committee has any questions or anything related to how we're moving through this with Zoom or suggestions, let me know. Like I say, this is a new experience for all of us, not being all in the room together. So we've got a little minute here if you have anything you want to either ask or suggest. Okay. Again, if Cannon Beach Chorus is here and would like to speak now, we can go ahead, or we can pause and
It looks like Terry is here and she's ready to go. She's got her hand up. So Terry, it's all you.
Okay, great. And I will give you a heads up when we're, 3 to 5 minutes away, if we go that long, just so we have time for questions.
Okay, good.
Great. Thank you, Terry.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you this morning. This has been quite a year for us. We started out 2020 with realizing that Steenbergen had a serious health problem, and all of a sudden we had to figure out where to move all of our music. And we got on a waiting list for a lovely storage unit. We had to worry about humidity and climate control and things like that. We found a great place at Junction 26 as you go into Seaside. And then we got a group together. Oh my gosh, we got to move all these boxes. There were 48 boxes of music, and we got a group together. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit.
Terry, you're freezing up a little bit here. I don't know if, so we lost your audio. Can you, as I say, we've got a little wiggle room in time here. I don't know if you can either
I don't know.
To another location or.
I can try, sure. I can move into the living room.
You're
Sure.
back now, so if you want to continue, that's fine. But
okay, so we had to move our music all of a sudden. We found a good location, and as we were dealing with actually moving the music, COVID hit, and now we're worried about being with each other. And one of the gals in the chorus did get COVID and recovered. So far, that's our only COVID case. So we dealt with that, and then we began thinking, gee whiz, we've now got a monthly obligation to pay for a storage unit, and we have no income coming in. And we have money in the bank, but that can really vanish in a big hurry if you're not paying attention. And when we realized what COVID was going to do to the businesses, we knew that they were going to be financially very, very cautious about any donations as well. So we did not have a big fundraising drive in spring. The next benefit we had was our director and the pianist kindly to forego any compensation until we began rehearsals again. And we had no idea when we could start rehearsing or planning concerts. I mean, as you know, it became very, very complicated about, even if we were willing to sing with each other, there were no churches or places going to let us perform. So we got through that. In the summertime, we spent from August to this February sorting out our music and putting them in shelving and in hanging files and labeling, because there were 48 boxes of music that was not in alphabetical order, not in chronological order. It was thrown into boxes. And so that took a while, and now we realize we have over 12,000 pieces of music in 75 boxes, and we have a lovely area. And we decided to take advantage of this downtime and find all of our intermission supplies and the clothing rack and all the miscellaneous things that were in everybody else's home. And then we had to move to a 10 by 20 storage unit. So now that expense is now $165 a month. And we are a little bit nervous about a few donations have come in. One thing we were excited to spend money on is the 2 gals that received our scholarships in 2019. No, the spring of 2020. They asked to have a renewal. They sent us, both of them sent lovely letters. One's going to college in Kentucky, the other one's down at Monmouth, and they're doing very well in their music and drama programs. And they asked for their scholarships to be renewed. So that's $1,000 and $1,200 respectively. And we're happy to do that. Yes? Oh, just a
About
minute.
5 minutes left to also include questions.
Okay, so we are asking for funding to help cover our new expenses with the storage unit, and also we are planning on beginning rehearsing for real in September to plan for Christmas concerts and concerts next spring. And we're asking for additional money to help with the expense of buying additional music. We are 14 of us will be singing at a memorial service for one of our members that passed away due to heart trouble. And we were so glad to have one rehearsal. After being away from each other for this long, the tension of not being able to run up and hug everybody, even though our little group that are going to sing at the service, we're all vaccinated, but ooh, you know, we resisted running up and hugging each other. But it's maybe going to perform with no intermission, maybe with restricted admission. In our sanctuary, we're on alternate pews and 6 feet apart, and it's strange, but we're dealing with it, and we really miss singing. And we appreciate any help that the city of Cannon Beach can give us to keep going.
Great.
Any questions?
Thank you. Questions from anyone?
We are planning a fall business campaign. Our donors have told us in the past that they would prefer to be approached in the fall after they've had a good summer. And we think with the COVID situation opening up a little bit, that we may receive some help from our past donors in the fall.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any?
Questions or comments from the committee members? All right. Scanning through, looks like not. Well, thank you again so much. Thanks for your sharing a little bit about the year and looking ahead. And thank you again for your application and for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, take care.
Appreciate it. Mhm.
So we are just about 10 minutes ahead, and I'm gonna, again, I don't want to put people who were anticipating going at a particular time on the spot, but I want to give them the opportunity to go ahead if they're here and ready and would like to do that. So the next group is the Cannon Beach Community Food Pantry. We can certainly pause here.
Looks like we do have Marilyn on the call, and she's turning her microphone on right now, and it looks like they've got themselves set up in front of some food pantry shelves. So good visual aid there.
Okay, great. Is this, would you like to pause or if you're ready and would prefer to go ahead, you can certainly do that.
Looks like she's giving a thumbs up. She's ready to go.
Okay, great. All right. I will again be tracking the time. I'll give you a heads up when we're about halfway through the 10 minutes, and the 10 minutes also includes time for any questions or comment from the committee members. So just know that that's the kind of halfway point. So thank you for being here and take it away.
All right, I want to just make sure, can you hear me?
Yes,
Perfect.
great, nice, thank you.
Yes, I am at the food pantry. I thought maybe it would be fun to see what we do and where we are. So here is one of our shelves of the dry goods. We stocked these shelves. Yesterday was a pantry day, a delivery day, so it may not be as full as it normally is, but as you can see, the community is very generous. And then I'm going to show you what we are interested in our grant. As you can see, these are our refrigerators and freezers. All along here. And then we have 2 others in the main room. So, this one's on. So I just wanted to thank you for our grant last year. Last year, the Parks Rec gave us a grant to fund to organize a 501c3, and that was accomplished last year. So we're continuing with our mission of the Cannon Beach Community Food Pantry to provide food and essentials to the hungry in our community in a compassionate and loving way. So the money that people donate to the food pantry, to the community. Sorry?
You're good. We just had a little bit of feedback there, so keep going.
Okay. The money that's donated to the food pantry, we want to buy food with that money. That's what their donators anticipate. That's what the board wants to do. Any money that's donated to us, we want to spend it on food. And if we can spend it, sometimes our dollar goes a little bit farther than the grocery stores. So for every $1 that's donated to the pantry, we can buy about $6 worth of food. So in 2020, we were able to stay open. We never closed. With the pandemic, we changed our delivery, and no longer were clients allowed into the building to pick their food, but we delivered it to them in their vehicles in a box. And the community is always, always generous to us. Last year, they donated over 67,000 pounds of food to the food pantry. That was from the local businesses and Cannon Beach residents. And in 2020, there are at least 50 different members of the community who help in the food pantry. And they volunteered 3,600 hours in the whole year. So last year we served about 8,800 customers, and that represents 2,300 households. Now our biggest day was obviously when the COVID hit. In April, everybody panicked. So in April, we actually served 363 customers, and that represented 95 households. To give you an idea of the perspective, Thanksgiving is usually our biggest day. In 2019, we served 346 in 92 households. So we actually increased our delivery on that day. So normally in an average week, things have calmed down a little bit because of stimulus, because of unemployment benefits. And our average day is about 48 households. And we serve about 174 people in that day. Prior to 2020, it was like 95 people. So now we're serving about 174, and before it was 95. So if the power goes out, and we all know that tends to happen in Cannon Beach, these refrigerators and freezers will lose all that food. And we're concerned that we won't be able to service those 175 people. And if the power's out in the community, obviously there probably is a bigger need, a greater need for them to do that. So they may come. So we've decided that we would like to look into getting a generator for the food pantry so that we can save our food and make it useful to the community. Now we discussed having a generator that you pull out of your garage. A lot of people have that in their house. Well, in fact, we have one in our house, but if we were to get that kind at the pantry, a volunteer would have to bring it down. We'd have to supply the gasoline, and we know that gas stations don't run during power outage. So, and plus the fact that an attractive generator sitting by itself in this property would probably walk away. So we'd really like to get an automatic generator.
We're just
What-
about halfway through.
Sorry? What'd you say?
We're just halfway through, just to give you a high sign.
Perfect. So an automatic generator. Now, if we looked into how much wattage we would need to run these refrigerator freezers. A refrigerator takes 700 running watts, and a freezer takes 500 running watts. So that totals up to, considering that we have 4 refrigerators and 6 freezers, that totals up to 5,800 watts. And then, of course, if all the power goes out and all the refrigerators get warmed up, now we're talking about startup, which means more wattage. So to start up a refrigerator from ground level, 0, it is 2,200 watts. And to start out a freezer is 1,500 watts. So again, for supplying all of our refrigerator freezers, we're talking about 1,700 watts. Now, luckily, the food pantry already has a gas line. It's all prepared, it's all ready. We don't have to do any engineering for that. We would need to do some adjustments on the electric panel so that the automatic generator would turn on automatically. So we looked at Home Depot, and a Briggs & Stratton 10,000 watt automatic generator cost $3,400. As compared to a Briggs & Stratton 1,200 automatic generator, that would cost about $3,800. So that's right in where we figured at least $4,000 for the generator. And then I know we'll have to do a pad out there to set the generator on, and we'll have to have an electrician to come in to make the electrician make whatever's needed for that. So we will have additional cost. And that's why we're asking for money, so that we can continue to keep our doors open and help the people in Cannon Beach.
Thank you so much. It's great. We've got a couple minutes, or 2 or 3 minutes for questions. So any questions from the committee members or comments? I don't know, Bob, were you? Yeah, I think you're muted,
I'm
Bob.
trying to unmute there.
Okay.
I wanted to thank you for addressing my question. I will probably still get in touch with Rock and talk to him about what I also sent an email to them, but thank you for addressing the question that I submitted.
Sure, sure.
Very well addressed.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Brock is in charge of the facility, so he helped us. We kind of jointly got these numbers, and so we're looking for a positive.
Great. Any other questions or comments? And if you have one, please make sure you're unmuted. Just.
Marilyn, this is Les Sinclair. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Les.
All right, thank you. I was just curious, this seems like a great idea, but such a natural segue into some kind of emergency preparedness. Have you thought about any other funding sources because in an isolation event, you're going to have a ready supply of emergency food. And so I certainly see the benefit. I just wondered if there were other places that would be just as eager to support you as we are.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. We can certainly look into that. I'm not really sure. I thought maybe your question was, would our storage be used in an emergency like a tsunami? And of course, the city has that completely covered. And I've seen their facility. They have, they're going to have way more coverage for that. But it's certainly something to look into. We'll check into that and see if there's somebody who is specifically going to support an emergency situation. Thanks for that, Les.
It was just a thought, but I love the project. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments or questions? I've got about a minute left. Yeah.
I just have a quick comment. I think we need to remember what the physical location of the food pantry in the event of a tsunami probably will not be sustainable.
Just due to its location.
Yeah, we're at the old school. We're at the Cannon Beach Elementary School.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It was really fun to actually see the food pantry and be on site today. That was a unexpected treat. So thank you so much for your time and for your application.
Great. Thank you so much.
Take care. All right.
All right, so Cannon Beach History Center and Museum is next on the list, and it does look like Elaine is on here. So Elaine, you're a couple minutes early, but if you're ready to go, I think.
I'm ready to go.
All right, great. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Take it away.
Thank you. So I am requesting funding for a project that we've been working on for quite a few years, which is digitizing our entire collection, our archives, which may not be aware, we have about 20,000 historic photos and postcards. We have thousands of documents. We also have several blueprints from the Tillamook Rock Lighthouse. We have plat maps for the community in the town of Cannon Beach and of Arch Cape. And a few years ago, we received funding to create a digitizing station, which, since we were closed for COVID, we were able to kind of create a larger digitizing station. Because of restrictions of our building, we were only able to do like smaller photos and postcards. And we've been able to create a database also including like plat maps and blueprints. And that process is, you know, they're very large. We have to take multiple photos. We piece them together with Photoshop. And so we've got all these digital archives and all these digital images of these things. Also, during our closure, a lot of people did at-home projects and made a lot of donations. So we have our event space has just become our quarantine space. We have different donations all along each wall that we're slowly working through as well, digitizing those and getting those ready to go. So where we're at in this project right now is we have all these digital documents in an external hard drive. We back that up once a month and we save that in a tsunami safe area. But the idea of creating this digital online database and search engine is for several reasons. One, all of that information is going to exist elsewhere in case of a catastrophe like a fire, tsunami, flood. But it also allows our visitors and anyone interested in Cannon Beach, whether that's the press or it's just someone who traces ancestors back here and wants to know a little bit more, it makes that more accessible to them as well as the community here. And while we were closed during COVID, this became like a very big project. And we've been working with the Clatsop County Historical Society the last few years. There was a really big meeting of all of the historic communities, all of the archives, Seaside Library, Astoria Library, Seaside Museum, the Clatsop County Historical Society, moving towards creating this database that's basically our entire county, because so much of the history was connected. If you look at the mail carrier, Mary Gritzy, she, you know, had mail from Astoria down to Nehalem. So we have connections. Even we've been talking to the Nehalem Historical Society about connecting with that, because there are pictures of her, you know, maybe at this place or at this place or at another place. And this not only allows people to research that on their own, but if they come in the museum and they want to do that research, we can say, oh, you know what, we don't have that, but it exists at this archive, and we'll allow them to kind of be more involved, which is part of the museum's mission, is collecting, preserving, and then making information public. Over the last year, we've shared a lot on social media, and social media is great, but it's very difficult, I think, for people to do research. You know, you can look at past posts, but it all eventually goes away. So this kind of gives people a place to go online, and also, like I said, creates a database for us that's off-site in the event of a catastrophe. And I think we're all kind of moving in that conversation. The museum industry has been moving in this conversation for about 10 years. And it's been a really big deal, ever since we had a lot of geological studies of the tsunami and kind of fear with that. So having something that's very quick, uploading new accessions as they come in, or new documents, new photos, we're more up to date than backing up once a month. So we've been working with Past Perfect, which is our museum software that we use to create metadata searches, so you can search all the images if you're looking for a person or a place. We're really hoping that we can work with other organizations, maybe government entities that might have deeds or information on specific homes that maybe we don't have. So we're really excited to kind of move forward with this project. And what we're asking for is the city to kind of meet us halfway for the cost of uploading all of these documents. And then the annual fee we will absorb into our annual budget to maintain this database, this search engine, and to kind of continue this project as things come in. And it's kind of a larger goal, which is eventually to create a little bit larger of an archival space, because we have so much stuff. Less than 10% of our collection is on display, which is very common with museums. But I would love for people to be able to know more about our organization and about our community, because every conversation I would have when people come in the museum is the rich history of our town and our connections to, Britain, or, people like Mary Garizzi who lived here, and the different kind of construction styles we have here. So it's nice to have this kind of moving forward.
We're about halfway now.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So
We've got a few
like
more
I
minutes
said-
and also for questions. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm just about done. So yeah, that we're just kind of moving with this project. I'm hoping by September of this year, we're going to have everything uploaded and then start creating the search engine from there. So by next year, January 2022, it'll all be live. It might go sooner. It just really depends on how fast the internet is, which if you live in Cannon Beach or you work in Cannon Beach, we've been kind of doing stuff. We've been working from home and at the museum and kind of going back and forth because some of us have faster internet at our houses. So my colleague and I've been working on this over the last year. We're really excited to kind of upload, because some of the things we've got over the last year, people have never seen before. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Exciting direction. And any questions from the committee? Comments? All right. Yep, Bob.
Talk again. I'm glad that I got a much better picture of this than when I skimmed over your application. It's very encouraging, and I'm looking forward to being able to access that online. I'm glad you're doing it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Elaine? All right. Well, thank you so much for giving us an idea of what's been going on in the last year and what you're looking forward to in this transition into digitizing and connecting up the work that you do with other museums and societies. So thanks so much, and we'll be in touch. Have a great rest of your day, and we appreciate your application and your time today. Great. All right.
So it looks like the Clatsop Casa program is up next, and I don't see Nikesha on here yet. So she is probably going to be joining us in the next couple minutes, but looks like we've got a little time for a breather if needed.
Yeah, we are ahead, and maybe this is a good time for us to take a break. If you want to get a drink of water, please do be mindful of the time. Let's aim to be back in 5 to, let's see, they're scheduled to go up at 10 till the hour. So come back a little before, just so you make sure that we're all set and settled and ready. So let's take a 5 to 7 minute break. Does that sound reasonable? Be back by a little before 10 till, and then we'll pick it up with the schedule. I believe we are all back, unless is there. Great. I think we can continue.
Hi, good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
Nikisha Womble, and I'm the director of the Clatsop CASA program, and I'm also a volunteer with the organization. Before I get started, it's my understanding that there was not any prerequisite questions or anything directly that you guys wanted me to address. Is that accurate?
I believe you would have received those if we had any ahead of time. And just to give you a heads up, this is our first time doing this on Zoom. So I'm going to be as unintrusive as I can, but when we're at about 5 minutes, I'm going to put my hand up, or if you don't see my hand, I might just let you know. And that last 5 minutes is to wrap up, and it also includes time for questions for folks. So
Okay.
Thanks so much. Okay.
Okay, great. All right, I will keep it brief. So we have asked for support from the city of Cannon Beach to help us achieve a fall training for 2021. In the past, you guys have been a supporter of ours, and I'm very pleased to say that throughout the COVID pandemic, our volunteers remain serving 133 children and have dedicated over 3,000 hours within the community to those children and families. With the effects of the pandemic, we have been able to extend our services much further than normal. So we always serve the entirety of Clatsop County, but throughout some of the pandemic related issues, we've served several Cannon Beach families over the course of the last year, as well as have expanded our volunteer ranks within you guys' region as well. We have opened up a clothing closet. We have been providing food and gift cards to families experiencing food insecurities, as well as other types of pandemic-related issues. So currently we are still providing full services, attending court, doing all meetings. Our volunteers have really filled the gap of a lack of access to educational personnel for students. So our volunteers have spent a lot of time helping parents navigate online learning, helping students navigate online learning, reading, providing kind of home-based curriculums. We've spent a lot of time outdoors with children and kind of celebrating and visiting in safe spaces, birthday parties on porches, those types of things. We have been able to amend our training. So we have an in-person option as well as an online option. This has enabled us to continue training throughout the pandemic and also to stay safe doing so. It's also helped us to diversify our ranks because we now have the ability, instead of just doing these large trainings, we can train year round. And so we've been training one volunteer back to back throughout this entire year so far. And we've actually already swore in 4 new volunteers, and we're currently training 2 more. So it was kind of the crisis was a little bit of a vehicle to us to be able to step into this new type of training. It's not necessarily more cost efficient. We still provide printed materials to our volunteers. Many, I'm the same way. I like to hold things in my hand. So while there is the electronic portion, many of our volunteers still want full print materials. We have 2 trainers who attend the training to really allow for the one-on-one attention, and at the same time, plenty of opportunity for group discussion. We have community partners to come in to teach about the effects of trauma, intergenerational trauma, family violence, drug addiction, as well as the services within our community. We've also added a LGBTIQA plus portion to the training, in addition to a DEI specific portion to really talk about equity and really talk about some of the disproportionality that we see within the child welfare system. We currently have 38 active volunteers, and we have 9 more who have just taken a break through, for various reasons, many waiting their vaccine. Many of them, it's just been an emotional year, so they've kind of just took a step back, understandably so. So our goal for the fall training would be to swear in 5 participants. Currently, we have a list of 9 waiting, and we will continue to grow that list year round. We would be starting the training in fall. We, implement our print ads, radio ads. We've kind of lost out a little bit on the word of mouth within the community. So we've created a stronger presence on Facebook and through our website, a lot of it through print material, and then just being open and willing to go into many of our, our groups, our clubs, our committees, and kind of just continue the conversation about, raising awareness to child abuse and that through much of this last year and going into the next, maybe 2 years even, we're not really going to see the effects until we're fully back open and until students are fully back in school. So our volunteers have been a consistent mandated reporter to have access to these children. So throughout much of the year when no one was able to go into the homes, including DHS, our volunteers were. And just to share a brief and still being confidential story, we had one young youth who came into care. Typically, these youth would get access to their teachers and have an immediate physical and some of the medical pieces covered just to see where they were developmentally and then be able to implement services. Due to providers not being able to come into the home, no one laid eyes on this children, but our volunteer, who happened to also have a background in nursing through CMH. She immediately noticed that his gait was off and that when he walked, he was having a very hard time. She was able to reach out to his pediatrician, to his caseworker, was able to, in a medically efficient way, describe what she was seeing. They made that youth an appointment, and he actually ended up having surgery within a few months and is now thriving and running and walking. And the doctor was very explicit in saying that had somebody not pointed that out within the time frame, say that would have went a year, the results may not have been so immediate, for that youth and in their ability to be a functioning child and be able to experience what they are currently with kind of a minimal thing. So I think I've covered everything. This is the quickest Zoom presentation I've given, so I apologize if I talk too fast. So as always, we appreciate your support. We're out here, just trying to do the best work for our kids. And as I know that you all believe, our communities need to invest in our children to be able to invest in our future. And I appreciate you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that perspective and the work you've been doing. Do we have any questions or comments from the committee members? And again, please be sure you're unmuted and then just speak up because I can't see everybody all at the same time.
This is Les Sinclair. Is it Nikisha, was that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you. I am aware of the work that CASA does, and I really appreciate your place in this community. I was just curious of your volunteers. Are they mostly located up in the north end, or do you have any south end of county? Volunteers, I guess is the word I'm asking.
Yeah, we do. So since we were able to get a recruiter throughout the last year and a half, really kind of 2 years, we've been focusing on the middle to far south side. So we do have a bulk in North County. We have 12 within the Gearhart Seaside area, and then we actually have 6 specifically from Cannon Beach.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right. And we have a couple minutes left. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I think I covered it. If I start talking again, I won't be able to stop. So no, I appreciate the consideration and I appreciate the efforts that you guys are doing. This hasn't been an easy year for anyone within the community realm. And I know that you guys have probably spent several hours trying to advocate for the best interest of your city as well. So I appreciate the work you do. And once again, I appreciate the opportunity to ask for your support again.
Thank you. Thanks for the work you do and for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All right, so it looks like we have Clatsop Community Action up next, and it looks like they are on the call.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. We're a little early. If you'd like to go ahead, we can go ahead and jump in or.
I've been ready.
Okay. All right. You're ready. We're ready. All right. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Welcome. And just to let you know, at about 5 minutes in, we've got a 10-minute window. I'm going to just put my hand up, or if you don't see me, I'll just let you know. And that last 5 minutes is to wrap up and then for questions.
All right. Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Everybody here okay?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Viviana Matthews. I'm the Executive Director at Clatsop Community Action. And thank you very much for the opportunity of being here to present about Clatsop Community Action. So Clatsop Community Action mission is to help people meet housing, food, and other basic needs. And how we do that is by providing services such as the Energy Assistance Program, housing, which is rental assistance, deposit assistance, and ongoing rental assistance for people. Personal care, we provide hygiene products for people who need those. We also do have veteran services, information and referral, and services for the unsheltered. With the and we also do the manage and operate the regional food bank for the county. And last year, with all our services, we provided over 15,000 services to our Plateau County residents. And about 7 to 25% of those services went to the city of Cannon Beach. And it depends on the service. Some of them, with the food programs, about 7 to 10%, and for the rental assistance, between 20 to 25%. And as I mentioned before, we do have a lot of different services. And as everybody mentioned, COVID, how CCA responded to COVID was our rental assistance increased by 600%. And please keep in mind that about 20% of that went to the city of Seaside. Deposit assistance, we had showers for the unsheltered in Seaside, Astoria, and we tried to connect with Cannon Beach, but we were not able to provide showers for the unsheltered at Cannon Beach in such a short notice. We also have portable bathrooms for the unsheltered. We had meal sites. We passed through federal fundings to fill in empty bellies and some other organizations to help us feed the unsheltered population. We also do wraparound services for anybody who needed to be quarantined due to COVID, and we help all over the county with those services. And we are currently assisting Plateau County Health Department with the vaccination clinics in Plateau County. We do those 3 times per week. And we help with the providing assistance to the volunteers, meals for the volunteers, and doing outreach and making sure if people want to get vaccinated, they have the opportunity to choose that. And at the Regional Food Bank, busy as always, our services increased by 20 to 30% during COVID. And we helped many residents of Cannon Beach with produce and all of that. We never really closed our doors during pandemics. We all work at our office, the social service offices, and also the Regional Food Bank. And how we responded to COVID at the Regional Food Bank. Meal sites and backpack programs have been very low numbers, but the numbers that people reach out to the Regional Food Bank increase by a lot. Mm-hmm. And just a snapshot, the CCA Regional Food Bank has remained open 100% operational since COVID. And the CCA has made deliveries, food and hot meals to Plateau County residents and seafood plant workers under COVID-19. The CCA Regional Food Bank expanded this local network in 2020 by welcoming 2 new partners into our under the umbrella of CCA Regional Food Bank. One of them was the Band-Aid Food Bank, which is at the college, and also Beacon Clubhouse. And I think that's what I have for now. And I really appreciate your support throughout the year. And I just, you know, I don't want to be in your position right now to see how we can continue helping all of the agencies that help our residents here in Plateau County, and especially in Seaside. So we really appreciate all your efforts and your hard work on it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you do, especially over this last year. Do we have any questions or comments from the committee? Please make sure you're unmuted and just speak up if you do.
One thing that I forgot to mention is with the rental assistance program, not only we help our tenants, but we have helped also landlords of Cannon Beach to keep getting those rents in on time so they can keep operating as landlords, which is very important to us.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much for being here. Again, thank you for the work you do. We appreciate your time and your application. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, you're welcome. Take care.
All right, up next, we have Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Center. And it does look like Mike Davis is on the call. So Mike, if you're ready, you can start a little bit early. But if you need a few more minutes, that's fine too.
No, this is great. Thank you. Thank you for giving us the time to spend with you today. I'm the development director here at Helping Hands Reentry Outreach Centers. We have been in operation for 19 years now. February, we'll be celebrating our 20th year, and we're very excited about that. We operate homeless shelters in Clatsop County. We have one located in Astoria and one graduate program location in Seaside. We offer emergency shelter for 4 nights. While someone is in our emergency shelter, they have the ability to learn about our long-term reentry program, which is a program designed to help someone build the toolbox that they need to be able to re-enter into affordable housing. In Clatsop County, in 2020, we served 355 unique individuals in our program. 133 were in our long-term reentry program and 222 were in our emergency shelter. We offered 434 volunteer-led classes, which taught skill building, such as financial literacy, credit repair, cooking healthy, things of that nature, as well as recovery support if someone should need that, because we do offer clean and sober campuses. And then we served over 13,000 meals in 2020 as well. As part of our long-term program, a participant will agree to be a part of that program, and we designed a long-term individual reentry program for them. And so we gather a lot of information, a lot of data about what are their barriers to being able to be housed again. Such as any traumas that they may have sustained, if they need assistance with ID, employment, any of those types of things. So that way we can track the data, but be able to build out an individual reentry plan for them. So that way they can have small incremental steps to being able to overcome the barriers that they have. We operate in 5 counties across Oregon with 11 facilities. And COVID has been hard for us, but we've really risen to the occasion. With help from the CDC, OSHA, OSH, or OHSU, we created COVID cleaning protocols and had to purchase new equipment to ensure that our facilities were safe and we could keep our doors open and accept people into our program. Luckily, with all these protocols in place, we've only had 3 individual cases that we were able to identify quickly, and that's across all 11 facilities that we operate. The support from the city of Cannon Beach will help us continue our operations, not only, keep up with the cleaning protocols that we have in place, but help us to continue to offer classes, be able to offer food, and provide for the utilities and operations that are needed to keep both locations open. Our facility in Astoria has about 62 bed spaces. Unfortunately, with COVID protocols, though, we are using about half of that space at this time because we need to keep social distancing practices in place. Our facility in Seaside is a graduate long-term program for women who actually are employed in the Seaside area. About half of our participants in Astoria are employed right now. And we're really proud and excited about that because we really work with our participants to help them heal first so that if they go and get employment, they're at a place where they can be a really good, successful employee for the employer. Yeah, I think that's all I have. Any questions?
Questions from the committee?
I just wanted to chirp in that I was startled and impressed with your statement that our average cost to house and feed a person for a day is $19. And go, man. I am impressed that you can do that.
I appreciate that. Yes. So yeah, we run at about $19 per bed space per day. As a participant in our long-term reentry program, our participants are actually in a membership program and they pay part of their bed space. So every month, our overall cost is about $550 for our bed space. Our participants pay about $250 each month. We do provide scholarships for them so they can get up and going and on their feet first and get some sources of income. And usually that could be a 30 or 60-day scholarship, but if someone needs longer, we're not going to kick them out because they can't pay. We're not going to make someone homeless again. We'll work with them and ensure that they have success. Just for reference too, Robert, so we in 2020 opened our Multnomah County facility in the Port of Portland, and it's currently 155,000 square feet. We'll be adding a total of 316 additional beds to be able to support homeless in Oregon. That facility, we project that we'll be able to have about 4,900 unique individuals per year that we'll be able to help. Our cost there still will be right about the $20 mark per bed per night. And in comparison, other organizations throughout the city of Portland are running anywhere from $70 to $120 per night per bed space.
That's quite a difference.
We've worked really hard to make sure we keep our costs down to ensure that we're good stewards of our donors' money. We utilize graduates in our program to be hired in to Helping Hands to help us. 73% of our employees all have lived experience, direct lived experience with homelessness and or addiction. And almost 100% of our client-facing staff all have that direct experience as well. But, you know, as part of the program, our participants are required to do 10 hours of volunteer work each week. They can do that volunteer work here at one of our facilities, where it could be anything from cooking meals to helping with janitorial work, things like that, which helps us keep our costs down. And overall, that volunteer time that's been given back to the community equates to about $1.3 million in 2020. And the volunteer work can be here at one of our facilities, or we encourage people to go out into the community to build network and build their own community.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. And as I understand, then the request here is really operating expenses, more on the operating expenses, and
Yes.
For a specific program per se.
Correct.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thanks for being here today. We appreciate it.
And thank you all for listening and for your continued support. We really do appreciate it.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right, looks like the Cannon Beach Academy is up next, and we're running about 8 minutes early, so I don't see Amy on the call yet. So it might be a good opportunity to stretch some legs again.
Let's just take a quick, maybe 2-3 minutes. So if she pops back on, we can continue. But if you need to stand up and stretch your legs, let's do that, but stay close.
And in the meantime, I noticed that we hopped over the Coaster Theater. Are they coming later? Or are they?
Bob, we sent out an amended schedule. So we had a couple organizations that didn't quite fall in alphabetical order, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're towards the end.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we'll take a couple minutes here and then, okay, I think I see everybody here. And we'll scroll down function, great.
We do have Amy Fredrickson from the Cannon Beach Academy joining us.
Great. Hi, Amy. Just to let you know, we're kind of navigating these presentations on Zoom for the first time. So when we're at about 5 minutes of the 10 minutes, I'll just give you a little wave just so you know. And that last 5 minutes will be for you to take a couple minutes to wrap up, but also that's also including the time for questions that we might have.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. If you're ready, it's all yours.
So thank you for inviting me to be a part of this presentation. I'm certain that you guys have had a chance to review the packet, but I'll just kind of recap for what we're requesting. So a little background on our school. The agreement with our lease with the city was that we have to be responsible for all of the maintenance and upkeep of the building, and that's something that that we don't have in our regular operating budget, and we have sort of strategized in ways that we can help do school improvements at the school, and one of those is through grants, and one of those is through fundraising. And so we are requesting assistance so that we can replace our fence. So when we inherited this space for our school and leased it from the city, the surrounding cedar fence that is a friendly neighbor fence was deteriorating when we moved in, and we've had to replace, I'd say a dozen or so fence boards on our own, and just to keep it safe and maintained for the students. And then our chain link fencing is also in quite a state of disrepair. So there's a lot of corrosion. Pieces have, sort of rusted through, and, replacing a fence for a lot this size is quite a substantial cost. And so we're requesting for support in creating that. So we're basically requesting to replace like fence with like fence, which has been approved by the city. So anything that is cedar that's already existing would be replaced with cedar fencing, and anything that's chain link would be replaced with that as well. However, over the course of the time that this building has been on the lot, the north side of the property has sort of slid down the hill, causing part of our chain link fence to bow out and become unsafe. So last year we had some volunteers come out from O'Brien Construction to make some support posts to push the fence so that it was actually upright and stable for the students, because kids are kids and they lean up against the fence because it's there. So we have also included in this proposal the cost of implementing a retaining wall, which will, once we get the fence repaired, will prevent that erosion and prevent the part of the fence from becoming unsafe again. And so through, we received some bids from several of our construction companies in the local area, and we're about $20,000 is going to be the cost for the school to cover. So I know that that's a huge ask for this community grant, but we wanted to ask for the full amount, and hopefully we can come up with other sources of funding through other grants or through fundraising to help us complete those repairs. Any questions for me? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know I didn't take 10 minutes, but I don't know that it necessarily needs to take 10 minutes. Thank you for considering us and for your support. You guys have been very generous to our school in past for this community grant, and it's been very, very helpful for us. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being here today. And it's good to see you and kind of hear what's been going on, and you'll be hearing from us. So thanks so much.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Here. All right. We are quite a bit ahead, about 9 minutes, 8 minutes, but we have Restoration House next, and I don't know if they're ready to go, but that's certainly an option if they would like to go, or we can again.
We're ready to go.
We've got Bradford on the call and he's ready.
All right, great. So again, I'm just reminding everybody, we've got a 10-minute window here, and I'm just, I'll give you a little wave when we're halfway through that, and then that'll give you a little time to wrap up and also give the committee time if they have any questions or follow-up. So
Excellent. I've been monitoring, so I kind of get it. Thank
you
you.
probably have heard this before, but okay. All right.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to present today. We view Canaan Beach as very important partners, and thank you for your support last year. It went to great use for our kitchen renovations, and we have a beautiful kitchen now. We invite you to come by and take a look at it at some point. We're 20 years old, actually 21 years old, and we've been serving Clatsop County by providing a consistent location where we can partner with Clatsop Behavioral Health and Clatsop Community Corrections to directly refer us, residents that are re-entering into society with either, of course, treatable mental illnesses or coming out of prison with maybe some substance abuse issues and things like that. And we provide a very safe environment. Over the last 3 years, I've been so proud of our development and growth as an organization. We're completely self-sufficient financially. We have reserves to operate for at least a whole year if we receive no rental income at this point. So we've really positioned ourselves for growth. And right now we're getting ready to add an addition on, or at least we've hired architects to give us some preliminary architectural renderings to add another 10 single room occupancy beds to our current 18. So the future's looking pretty good. Our specific ask to Canaan Beach was $10,000, which is to help us with a more acute, immediate problem. In doing the kitchen renovations, we uncovered on the south side some extensive dry rot under our sinks and under the kitchen windows. That's going to cost us pretty much close to $18,000 for total project cost. But we were hoping to get this project moving forward as soon as we could while the drier weather's here. And so that's our specific ask. It's you all were very helpful with the kitchen last year, and hopefully you can help us with these particular renovations. I'm open for questions.
Okay. Any questions from the committee or comments?
We're really proud of the organization, and again, I extend the invitation for anybody from the city of Canaan Beach to come by and take a look. We've had all new floors, which I think some of the money did go to that. The kitchen is lovely, and we have a food program that's being anchored by a Canaan Beach resident, Mark Newsom. And he's a professional chef. He was the Mount Bachelor Food and Beverage Director for 10 years. And he's come in and he's mentoring a lot of our clients who now have food handling cards and are actively working in the community. So that whole thing's, your kitchen money was godsend. Thank you.
Okay. One more time. Any questions, comments? All right. Well, thank you.
Make it easy. Thank you.
Thank you for your application. Thanks for being here today and for the work you do. And
We appreciate your all support and interest. Thank
all
you.
right, take care.
Take care.
All right.
So our next presenter is kind of a two-part presenter. We've got one representative for the next two organizations, Darren, and I don't see him on the call yet. But yeah, we're speeding right along on our schedule here.
We are moving ahead. Any let's see, well, maybe we can all stay within earshot, and then Kelsey, when they get on the line and are ready, you can give us a holler, but as always, let's stay close.
I've been told my hollering abilities are excellent, so I'll put those to good use.
Okay.
So, Jelaine, real quick question, this list. So like the offer that gentleman just made, come up and take a look. I assume there's no reason why any of us couldn't take advantage of that. To go up and look at their facility and meet the folks. Is that true?
You know, I don't know that that's come up specifically before. I think as so I don't know in terms of, you know, committee or not committee. I mean, if an individual, I think, wanted to go and check out any of the organizations, you know, we're invited to do so with, as you say, with the invitation. I don't see why we couldn't. I think if we were doing anything with a quorum, you know, obviously, or as a committee, it would be a different situation. Is that your understanding, Kelsey?
Yeah, I think that's an accurate assessment.
Yeah, well, so just for transparency, then I am planning, I think, to go up and look at this one, just FYI. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for the question. And if anybody has anything else on that, you know, in terms of past experience with that, I don't think that's come up as a question for the committee before. Okay.
Hi there, Darren. We're just taking a couple minutes break here. But glad to have you on the call here.
Well, thank you very much for having me today. I appreciate it.
Let's see, do we have, all right, so we've got Bob, Jelaine, Barb, Betty, Stacy. All right, so it does look like we've got all of our committee members on Zoom right now, back from the break. So if you want to start a few minutes early and get done a few minutes early, the floor is yours.
Well, fantastic. Okay. So yeah, let's see, which are we starting with? South County Community Food Bank? Let's maybe
the one we've got on the list first. So if you want to start with that one, I think that'll help everybody keep it straight.
Well, perfect. All right. Yeah, we don't want to run afoul of the process. So, well, good morning, everyone. I'm Darren Gooch with the South County Community Food Bank. I'm the board president. Been with the organization since 2016. So it's probably out of the many volunteer pieces that I've been involved with in my community over the many years I've been here, is probably the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart. Really, just because of the number of people that we serve, and I think the lives that we touch with the work that we do at the food pantry. Exciting thing for us this last year, we were actually able to purchase a new delivery truck. That is the truck is our lifeline to all of the food that we're able to access. We work with community partners all over the community: Costco, Safeway, Franz, Rite Aid, Hamilton's Market, and we developed a new relationship this year with Grocery Outlet. As soon as they came to town. So really, that truck is our lifeline to being able to get access to the tons and tons of food that we're able to bring into the pantry and move through every single month. Actually, 2020 was probably our biggest year for donations. can't imagine that we'll see another year like that again. But a lot of local businesses that were forced to shut down during the pandemic were able to bring some of their unused and unopened food to the pantry, so that that food didn't spoil or go to waste. It was moved out immediately to families. During the pandemic, we had to change up our format a little bit. Normally, we like to welcome clients into our building and be able to shop one-on-one with a volunteer through the building. Obviously, we couldn't do that during 2020, so we had to move to a pre-prepared box model. But it was received okay by folks. A lot of folks still prefer the one-on-one shopping. It allows them the opportunity to make selections on food that are more to their taste, rather than a volunteer deciding, just putting things into a box and handing it over that way. So we are hopeful. We just had a meeting this last week, and we're kind of hopeful that maybe as we head toward fall, with the lift on the guidelines, we can move back to a more in-person shopping experience for our clients. So, but you guys did have a question, actually. It says, it sounds like you're doing a terrific job, but what do you propose to do with this specific money? And all of the money that comes into our pantry, some is diverted and goes to paying our only staff person, which we hired about 2 years ago, and it was through a generous grant from through Providence Health Systems that allowed us to hire our first ever employee, which has been a fantastic experience. Jenny works very, very hard. She works about actually manages that entire pantry on about 20 to 25 hours a week. So really, really a lot happens there in that 20 to 25 hours. So that's our only real, besides our insurance and electricity. I got to run a 20 freezers and about 5 refrigeration units. So electricity is kind of our other big overhead piece. But other than that, with these generous donations that we had in 2020, we didn't have as big a call, so there wasn't a huge impact on our food budget. We are actually under budget for most of the months, as you could probably see with our financials. Meat is the one thing that we do buy, and a lot of through the regional food bank. We get an excellent price on that as well. So it's 18 cents a pound. And I know, right? So it's an amazing price, and it's a great relationship we have with our regional food bank. We also have access to a lot of free USDA product, and so sometimes it's cans of pork, sometimes it's flour, sometimes it's rice. It changes weekly. So every week we get a new price sheet from regional as to what things are coming down from the USDA through the Oregon Food Bank, and then down to our regional food banking folks. And so we try to take advantage of as much of the free stuff as we can, and then that 18 cents a pound for the other food stuff that we need, which, like I said, mainly right now is meat, because we're really big on protein. But with all the other donations, that's kind of our variety pieces that kind of fulfill the other USDA components that need to go out with a box. But so yeah, so did I answer all of the questions? Or did I create any more?
We'll find out.
Fantastic.
We're a little over halfway through. So if there's anything else you want to add at this point, or I can open it up for questions, and then you can respond that way.
Yeah, let's open it up for questions from here. I'm sure some folks have some questions.
Great. So questions from the committee, and please just speak up and make sure you're unmuted.
Okay. We do work closely with Canaan Beach Food Pantry, by the way. So I don't know if any of you participate with Canaan Beach Food Pantry? Barb does? Okay, great. Yeah, so, well, you probably know this then. You guys serve on Wednesdays. Wednesday evening or Thursday morning, usually one of your folks from Cannon Beach Food Pantry will drop off any unused perishables at our food pantry because we serve on Thursdays. And then after we're done on Thursdays, Thursday evening or Friday morning, we tend to take any leftover perishables and drop them off at St. Vincent de Paul in Gearhart because they serve on Fridays. So a lot of that food has a second chance or even a third chance as it goes down the line because like with a lot of bread products, they're still not quite out of date and they'll still have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 days, but they typically won't last until the following Tuesday when we reopen. So yeah, so a lot of that food is shared among the partner agencies. So yeah.
Great. And so if I understood, then the funds then would be going to help defray some of that staff cost, the operating costs like electricity, and then it would just be divided kind of where the need is present. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Any other questions from the committee? Comments?
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for coming in and thank you for doing this, the work you do.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I guess this might be the moment where you would switch hats.
I get to switch to my other hat. So yeah, and another program that is near and dear to my heart because really it's in the same vein as what the work I do with the food bank, and that is the scholarship program through the Sunset Empire Park and Recreation District Foundation. And so the foundation spends a good portion of its time trying to raise funds to add into this scholarship program. Normally, we would do the Sip and Savor, formerly known as a Sweet Affair. So if any of you have ever been to that event, usually in the spring, it's a wonderful, wonderful event. It features a lot of hors d'oeuvres and wines from local businesses. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we haven't been able to hold that event for about 2 years. So hopefully 2022, we'll see that event back. But in the interim, the foundation members kind of looked at other fundraising opportunities. And so this year, we reached out to Don Frank, photographer here in Seaside. And Dawn gave us a couple of really wonderful pictures that the foundation board had made into a couple of large 2,000-piece puzzles. And they feature an area looking at Tillamook Head and then the front of the pool. I mean, everybody wants a puzzle at the front of Sunset Pool, of course, but they've actually been selling really, really well. So my hat's off to the foundation board. They really kind of came up with really trying to think outside the box and how they can raise some funds for our scholarship program. But we did meet the needs of 29 families last year. And so hopefully we are able to do, 39 families this year and be able to provide a little bit more than we were able to do in 2020. Obviously 2020 was a weird year. We were really only open for about 6 to 8 months of the year. So that cut down the need, of course, the restriction on programs as well. But right out of the gate in 2021, I can tell you I'm probably pretty close to about 15 to 20% higher numbers than I did have at the beginning of last year. So the requests are coming in a little bit more this year as we begin to add in more programming, especially the folks looking at our summer camp program, wanting to get their kids into summer camp. So a lot of call there for the youth programs and things of that sort as well. So. But yeah, so we're asking for $3,000 to kind of help with our scholarships this year. So if memory serves, kind of looking back at my notes here, I think we had about 15% of the folks that receive scholarships are folks from Cannon Beach. So that's kind of they make up about 15% of the requests. So our scholarship program, I think I did get this question in another presentation. Do we limit them to just our district residents? No, not at all. Our scholarship program is open to anyone and everyone who requests a scholarship. So yeah, we don't make any differences on where you live. So any questions on our scholarship program? Okay, yeah.
Okay, well,
I had what I hope will be a short.
Yeah.
Can you give about one paragraph about what people do in the summer camp program? I hadn't been paying attention to that, so.
Okay, sure. Yeah, our summer camp program is for kids K through 5th grade, and each week is a different theme. So kind of, it's a little different than our school year program. Our school year program goes from month to month. Summer camp program is broken up by weeks, and we have about 11-week period that we offer the summer camps throughout the summer. So first one, I'm just kind of looking at my calendar really quick. I'm not sure of all of the themes this year. I know Justin, sort of our program director, ran some of the ideas by me, but I didn't catch all of the themes. I think the second week is usually has something to do with 4th of July, because week 2 is almost always like Stars and Stripes or something like that. But something that Justin did actually just run past me is they're going to start doing a Campfire Fridays. So every Friday is going to be something around a campfire, so they get a chance to do s'mores and sing songs, and so just kind of your basic, for me at least, the fond memories of summer camp from when I was a kid and used to go to Camp Pioneer with the Boy Scouts. But they're going to start doing some activities like that. They're going to include some fire safety pieces. So they're going to have Seaside Fire Department come over and work with the kids on some fire safety tips and things of that sort. So there's kind of an educational component around it as well. So yeah. But arts and crafts, kind of your standard summer camp fare.
great. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, Darren, thank you so much. Thanks for
Absolutely.
both organizations. Thanks for all the work you do and for being here today. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks as always for having me. I really enjoy you guys, and too bad again, second year we couldn't really be in person, but maybe next year. So
Hold the thought.
right. Thank you so much. Take care, you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, next we've got North Coast Food Web. I don't see Jessica on here yet, but we are a couple minutes early. Her time slot is slated for 11.
Yeah. Okay, is that working for everybody? If you just kind of stay within earshot, and then Kelsey can let us know when our next person's up and ready. Yep, thumbs up. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Okay, great. All right, so if you turn your camera off, please just be sure and turn it on when you're ready to go, and stay close by, and we will resume when our next presenter's here.
All right, looks like we have Jessica on the call from North Coast Food Web, and we're running a couple minutes early, Jessica. But if you're ready and prepared, we're ready for you as well.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Tontisuk, and I'm the Executive Director at the North Coast Food Web. And I guess I was just hoping maybe y'all could tell me a little bit about the format. Do you want me to just kind of reiterate what is in our grant application, or will you ask specific questions, and then how much time?
Yeah, great. We can do that either way. If you'd like to tell us a little bit about it, we've got a 10-minute window, and I will give you a little wave at 5 minutes, so you know that you've got a couple minutes to wrap up, and that'll leave some time for questions if you'd like to do it that way. If you want to give us a little overview or speak specifically to the request for this year, that's fine, or we can just go straight to questions, whichever you prefer.
Okay, well, I'll give a little bit of background. So the city of Cannon Beach has been supporting us for many years. And so we're a 501c3. We're based in Astoria, but we work all across Clatsop County. And our mission is to cultivate healthy communities and a vibrant economy through food and agriculture. So we work a lot. So we're not a food bank, which is a common misconception, but we do work a lot with small beginning and kind of like emerging small farmers. So the project that we have pitched this year to the city of Cannon Beach is a delivery pilot project that we're doing. So we have a small market that used to be kind of more like an in-person farm stand. And due to COVID, we pivoted it to be all online. And again, when we started, we were probably doing like 3 part of the OSU Extension SNAP education program. So I think that those are the ways that we will kind of help assess the need and find the families and individuals that will use this program. But as far as like, data that is existing, I think it's more broad strokes, right? So we know that areas that are located further from the population centers of Seaside or Astoria are in more of what are called food deserts. And so, I think that, we could come across more challenges moving forward too. Like if people don't have access to even order online, then, how will they use our market? So I think, we're solving kind of like one piece at a time. But I think there'll still be some challenges that we have to overcome for access.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
This is Bob Lundy. Realizing that I had not really been aware of what you do, even after looking over the application. And I'm speaking as the chair of the Cannon Beach Farmers Market Committee. I would like to I'll look over this more carefully and look into getting in touch and seeing whether we can cooperate with you in some way, because this sounds like it is a very compatible, or at least potentially compatible function.
Well, thanks, Bob. And I don't know if y'all know, but Barb is our bookkeeper. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest.
I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised.
So we work intermittently with the Cannon Beach Farmers Market, and we're kind of in the loop with. I know that y'all last year, with COVID, made some changes to operations, and this year, it sounds like you are going on with the market at this time.
Our basic plan at this point is that we will have a soft opening in June and then operate as closely to what we've done in past years in July, August, and September. We're committed to be open in all weeks in which the county says that we are moderate risk or better.
And we just recently, one of our other services that we try to do annually is to get all of the regional farmers market managers together. So Philomena in the past has joined those sessions, and it's really nice because, she's more of a veteran market manager, but there's all these kind of new markets that have come along online locally, and especially with COVID and the regulations changing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, it's been really nice for all the market managers to be like, are you doing music? No, we're not doing music, or we are, and this is the way that we're allowed to do that, or are you doing food? And how are you like setting up safety guidelines and things in the market? So, that's not related to this project particularly, but we do offer that. We're kind of like the coordinating body for that in the county too.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions or comments?
Remute.
All right. Okay, well, thank you so much, Jessica, and thanks for the work you do. Thanks for being here today. And
thank y'all. I hope that we get to see you at the potluck this year.
yeah, fingers
crossed.
crossed.
Okay. Thanks for having us. Okay, well, if you have any other follow-up questions, please let me know. Okay, thanks.
Will do. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we have the harbor up next, and I don't see Terry on here yet, but we are a couple minutes early from their time slot at 11:10.
Okay, we will do as we have been doing. Stay tuned.
Terry, this is Kelsey over at City Hall. I just wanted to confirm that we're having a quick break here, but we'll be ready for you shortly.
Okay, sounds good.
And if you are a committee member, if your camera's off, please just turn that on so I know you're back and ready to go. Thank you so much. Okay, here's Bob. I think we're all back. Thank you so much for being here. And I will just, we have a 10-minute window here. So as you're presenting, I will just, if we get up close to the halfway point, I'll just give you a little wave so you know we've got, a couple minutes to wrap up and then some time for questions. So thank you so much for being here and welcome. And I will turn the mic over to you.
Great, thank you. Thanks for having me. So my name's Terry Steenbergen. I'm the Executive Director of the Harbor. And first of all, I just wanted to say thanks so much for all of your past support over the years. And I think it's been super helpful. And I know we always are looking for support for our on-call and domestic and sexual assault response team. And so it's great knowing that we have that continued support from you. I wanted to leave it open a little bit for questions, but just wanted to say over this past year, as I'm sure you know, and maybe everybody has been talking about, it's been a pretty hectic year. And I think that one of the things that's been so amazing is that even through the sort of beginning of the pandemic and ongoing, we actually never stopped providing services to any of our clients, and our 24-hour crisis line stayed open and available throughout the whole time, as well as many of our other services. So even while we were trying to transition pretty quickly into the new pandemic world where we provide most of our services over the phone or on Zoom or in other ways rather than in person, we've just been able to continue on working with clients. I think the other thing that I would just note of the last year too is that we have, things gotten busier, as I'm sure you've heard and read, that we are seeing just a pretty significant increase in the incidences of domestic violence throughout the county. And then not only is the sort of number going up, but we're also seeing a pretty significant increase in just the violence and the complexity of all of the cases. And so it's been amazing having so much community support behind us, just knowing that we have to really support survivors a lot more than we used to. And then I think some of the other changes are just, with housing and making sure that people have shelters, that we do actually spend quite a few resources trying to get people like temporary shelter in hotels around the county, and then also more permanent shelter in various areas. So that's my sort of quick pandemic presentation. I think though, in the last year though, we've also seen some really great stuff, and we've been able to expand here at the harbor. So we've actually just recently added a pretty comprehensive prevention outreach program. So we're doing some sexual assault and teen dating violence prevention work in the high schools and middle schools. And we'd like to expand that to all of the schools around the county. We were also just recently able to add LGBTQ outreach position. So we're able to do more outreach into the LGBTQ community. We've also expanded our Latinx outreach program in the last year as well. So really trying to make sure that we're reaching out as much as possible to all corners of the county, to all affected populations.
Great, thank you so much. So we'll open it up to questions. If anyone from the committee has questions more general or specific to the request this year, make sure you're unmuted. And these are comments.
So this is Les. So Terry, could you just give just a real high level overview of how the domestic and sexual response team, the DSART, how does that work within your organization?
So the domestic and sexual assault response team, it includes us at the harbor, also the hospitals, so Providence and Columbia Memorial Hospital, and then all of the law enforcement agencies, including the DA and the DA's office. And so it works sort of in two directions. The first one being if law enforcement does respond to domestic violence or sexual assault, then they will call us pretty immediately after. It's a little different now than it used to be because of the pandemic, since we can't respond in person as much, but they'll call us immediately after so that we can actually get in touch with the survivor if it's safe to do so over the phone immediately in the moment. Because if it doesn't happen sort of immediately, usually people sort of drift off and don't reach out for our services just because it's just the way it is. And the same thing with the hospitals. So they have the law enforcement and the hospitals have direct contact with our advocates 24 hours a day, so they can just call and pass that information on. And then when it comes to sexual assault response, we actually will go to the hospitals and sit with survivors and advocate for them while they're in that exam. And then it's sort of the other side of it is if folks come to us and they want to work with law enforcement or the hospitals or the DA's office, will then reach out to them and sort of coordinate.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? Great. Well, thanks so much for being here, Terry. Thanks for the work that you do. And yeah, we really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. And thanks again for all of your support. It's been super helpful over the years. So, and thanks for having me.
Great. See you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so it looks like the Seaside Hall is up next, and I do see that Norman is on the call, and we're running a little ahead of schedule here, Norman, but if you want to start early, you're more than welcome to.
I see no problem in that. I joined early, just hoping to be not late or on time, so this works out fine.
Yeah, we're figuring out the Zoom thing as we go along. Just to let you know, we've got about a 10-minute window, and I will just give you a little wave when we're halfway through that, so it gives you a little orientation if needed. So
I'll try and keep you in mind here that my eyes don't glaze over from Zoom fatigue.
Well, welcome, and I'll turn the mic over to you then.
It is interesting. Jumping ahead here, but of course, the Seaside Hall which hosted over 20 12-step meetings, 12-step based meetings a week, shut down a lot of those meetings during the pandemic. We were able to convert a number of those meetings to Zoom meetings. And I can tell you our meetings probably had some technical and familiarity issues, just as you've had to adapt to that. But I will say that when we reopened in September, that we've heard numbers of our people attending the meetings expressed a huge delight that they could finally meet face to face. So Zoom achieves a number of objectives, but it leaves something to be desired for those of us who aren't maybe quite as modern, or whose key to their core is a fellowship, which is 12-step meetings base a lot of their effectiveness on fellowship, which some people can't get unless it is face-to-face. So we were glad to be able to open up in September, and we've seen most of our meetings come back, and our new meetings are still on Zoom, but I think as we progress in the vaccinations and so forth, we'll see those. You may know that the Seaside Hall itself is somewhat over 50 years old. And so we do have maintenance issues. It is a house that's owned by the Methodist Church in Seaside. We rent it from them, the Seaside Hall Board of Directors, and then we farm out meeting space to individual meetings. We pay the Methodist Church rent for the facilities. The meetings pay a small amount to subsidize their participation in the meetings. We have additional donations that help us stay afloat, but as an older facility, we have ongoing maintenance issues and desires to upgrade the facility. And this year we wanted to take our gravel parking lot that had old broken down railroad ties and improve it. We've in the process of replacing the railroad ties as bumpers, but we thought we would take about 2 spaces in from the road and pave that over for handicap parking stalls. We do have a handicap accessibility ramp on the front of the building, so that would enable our handicap members and even wheelchair bound members to be able to come in directly from the parking lot, not have to go over gravel and into the facility. So that's our project this year. But again, we believe that we provide a significant service to the community. We've been doing it for 35 years, and people, it's amazing. I moved to the Pacific Northwest in 2014. It's amazing to hear from people from Portland and even Idaho and other places that, gee, we heard of the Little Yellow House. We had to stop by when we were in the area. There is a big function at the Seaside Convention Center each year, canceled the last 2 years, called the North Coast Roundup. That brings anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 recovering people into Seaside. And we get a number of them that attend meetings while they're here at the Little Yellow House. And it kind of, then they tell friends about it because it is a unique space. And we like to maintain it and keep it going so that we can continue to serve the population. If you looked at we have people attending from Astoria all the way down to Cannon Beach and even further south that come up because here in one location, you have like 20 meetings. You'd be hard pressed to find more than a handful of meetings elsewhere. So we believe we provide a service, but we need to keep the facility going. And we appreciate the help we've received in the past and look forward to your help in the future. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer them without trying to get too enthusiastic, because I'm very enthusiastic about the service that we provide to the community.
Great. Thank you so much. Enthusiasm is always welcome. So I'll turn it over to the committee members. Any questions, comments, anything you'd like to know more about? Okay. Well, thank you for that overview and speaking about the work you do. Thank you for the work you do and for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Take care.
All right, so it looks like Tollivan Arts Colony is up next. I do not see Andrew on the call yet. So I will holler, I guess, when I see him pop up.
All right.
Hi, Andrew. It's Kelsey over here at City Hall. We're just taking a quick break, but we will be back with you shortly for your presentation.
Okay.
Okay, for committee members, I think Andrew is here. So if you are present and ready to resume, when you're back, please just turn your camera on so I can see that you're here and ready to go. Thanks.
Well, by my count, it looks like we've got all the community members back in front of their computers.
Thank you. All right. Hi, Andrew. Welcome. And we've got about a 10-minute window here. And so I've just been giving people a wave if they get up to the 5-minute mark, just so you know, we've got a couple minutes to wrap up and then time for questions. So other than that, welcome, and I'll turn the mic over to you.
Sure. Thanks for all of your time. I'm going to read a statement and then I'd be happy to take questions or chat or whatever. So here we go. The lifeblood of the Tollivan Arts Colony is bringing people together, and we're super excited. We're almost aching to continue that work. After all we've been through last year, community needs to be invigorated. While we haven't got to do things like Cannon Beach Putts or Get Lit at the Beach or our ever-growing and evolving cultural exchange series, we have done a number of exciting things during the pandemic safely. That began with the summer concerts in the park last year. Those concerts were some of the first artistic events, and I feel like the most impactful of the 2020 summer. I'll remember them as the few times during the center of the pandemic that Cannon Beach came together safely. We all had a good time and for a few hours felt like things were normal again. We also helped with the Coaster Theater's series of productions in the park last year, doing sound to help make those shows possible. We teamed up with the Coaster again to host a safe karaoke in the park event, and those theater folks can really sing. When we moved back indoors in the fall, obviously things were limited, but we were able to continue our holiday bazaar, which we extended to 2 weeks and also offered online no contact pickup sales. We came really close to the sales of the year before, which without the opening night reception and all of the other concerns was a real success. We offered a multi-week cooking workshop for kids, which focused on making healthy snacks and the fundamentals of nutrition. Of course, Zumba continued both indoors and out. They just can't be stopped. We launched a children's dance class that just last week wrapped with a recital in the park. And that class I was really moved by. It was led by a pair of local moms who decided to make and lead their own class when a dance studio in Seaside closed down due to the pandemic. And it really felt good just to see something, you know, created during that time, at a time of so much closure. And in a nutshell, that's what the Arts Colony can offer is opportunity. Cannon Beach Yoga, the business, was launched at Tolovana Hall, and so many teachers and artists have supplemented their income by way of our classes and workshops and art shows, either as teachers or presenters. In Silicon Valley terms, the Tolovana Arts Colony is kind of like an incubator for Cannon Beach. To that end, I'm in talks with numerous folks, including a military veteran who's working on a mental and physical rehab program, and other local artists and teachers who are interested in sharing. To be sure, there's going to be some hurdles building back before we can realize business as usual. There are classes and events we were preparing to launch before COVID struck that still aren't ready to resume, including new weekly classes, an artist residency, and a cultural exchange event attempting to bridge the Hispanic community with Cannon Beach at large. But we haven't been stuck in purgatory. We're doing our best to remain active and innovative. As you know, we're working on a new Art in the Park event, which we expect to hold at the former Cannon Beach Elementary School in late June. We're on track to hold our series of summer concerts in the park this year. I just booked July, and I'm very excited about that artist. We're on track. I should say, I see, I see Bruce on the call. The city was really supportive of making that happen. And so thanks to the city and to the park as well for helping us with the Art in the Park. Let's see. Along with the concerts and Art in the Park during the downtime, we were able to secure a grant and renovate Tolovana Hall. We've got new floors and new lighting, which I'm really excited about. And the next time we get in there, it's going to be that much more professional, and it's just going to take what we can do up another level. And I mean, like in that way, getting in there and doing live things, I can't wait until we get off Zoom. It's been workable in a pinch, but I look forward to being in the same room and becoming a community together again, because that's what the Arts Colony is all about. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. I'll turn it over to any questions or comments from the committee. You're unmuted. And all right. Okay, is there anything you'd like to say just specific to the request this year, or anything you'd like to add? Time left.
I mean, specific to this year's request, you'll see that we have dropped the request to do children's programming. We need to go back to the drawing board on that, and I don't know if we were getting our full money's worth. Sometimes events would be great, and sometimes they would, no one would show up, and I couldn't put my finger on why.
Great, thanks. Okay, last call for questions. Right. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for the overview, and also just talking a little bit about how the year's been and what you're looking forward to. So.
All right. Thank you all for your time.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for everything you do. Take care.
All right, next up, we've got Wildlife Center of the North Coast, and I don't see Joshua on here yet, but we are about 13 minutes ahead of his time slot right now.
All right, so stay close to your computers and we'll take another break. Welcome, Josh. Good to see you. We're navigating the Zoom presentations for the first time. So there's a 10-minute window that we're working with. When we get about to 5 minutes, I will just give you a wave if you're in the midst of your presentation, just so you know that we've got a couple minutes to wrap up and leave some time for questions. And if you don't have other questions, I will turn the mic over to you, and welcome.
Yeah, I will say my internet connection here is incredibly unstable. In fact, everyone's kind of frozen on my screen right now. So if I get logged off, I'm so sorry. And we're out in the sticks here at the Wildlife Center, so my video might pop on and off here because of that. Oh, there I am. Yeah, so I guess I'll just start by, I mean, a lot of you, or some of you are new faces to me, but I'll just start with who we are and what we do. We're the Wildlife Center North Coast, located here in Astoria, Oregon. We've been here for going on 24 years, rehabilitating injured, orphan, and sick native wildlife. We are the only seabird specialty wildlife rehabilitation hospital in all of Oregon. And we're the only wildlife hospital that serves the Oregon coast. So we serve as far south as Newport, Oregon, and further south even if we can find the volunteers to do so. A huge percentage of our, or a large portion anyhow, of our intakes, especially during the summer and early fall months, come from Cannon Beach, Haystack Rock, more specifically, our baby mers, our jumplings and adult mers, primarily. We do get the occasional puffin and cormorant and gull from there as well. But yeah, so the grant I put forth to you guys, proposal, I kind of actually split that guy up this year, and I'm asking for help in two aspects here. Of course, our general operations is always something that we are always looking for help with. That, of course, is to feed, primarily to cover food and medication costs of our patients that come through here, as well as medical supplies, enclosure upkeep and maintenance, and the veterinary visits as well. But we're also asking for a little additional funding to assist us in creating our seabird display enclosure. So for the past few years, we've been planning to build the seabird display enclosure, because on top of being a wildlife rehabilitation facility, we're also a conservation education facility. So we provide meaningful, in-depth educational programming to youth and adults alike here all over in the communities we serve. And so we are hopeful to become open to the public in the near future and allow people to come out here and tour our educational facilities. And right now we have 2 education birds, but one of them is not in an enclosure that is necessarily the most suitable for her. So we have a double-crested cormorant education bird that we've had since 2015. And we worked with a person that's he's designed enclosures for the Oregon Zoo, and he gave us a discount, designed this beautiful enclosure for our cormorant, which it's right now it's for her, but as we add other seabirds, we're building it so that it will work for just about any seabird we may possibly want to put in there, whether that's a pelican we may want to add to our program in the future. And what this will allow us to do is to really get people out and into our facility to actually see up close and personal these seabirds that you wouldn't necessarily be able to see up close without binoculars, and kind of see how smart they are and learn more about their natural history, and hopefully help them to appreciate our aquatic birds that we don't necessarily see very often a little bit more. So those are the two aspects to our funding proposal or ask here. Yeah, so I guess if you guys have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Questions from the committee or comments? Regarding the
Well, come on, Stacy, you always have a question.
I
Barb?
actually don't have a question, but thanks so much for all you do.
Oh, yeah, no problem. We enjoy our work, but thank you.
Great. So this enclosure, do I understand this is something that the birds would come into for a short period of time when people were coming through the wildlife center so that they could see, but it's not necessarily their living space? Is that, am I understanding?
No,
that
this would
correctly?
actually be the permanent living space for the sorry, turn off the ringer on my phone here. This would be the permanent living space for our cormorant. So this is actually a much larger enclosure with the plan would be a much larger pool, a 20 foot by 6 foot by like 4 foot deep concrete pool with a viewing glass. So this would be her permanent enclosure. So the idea of this is not only to allow the public to get a better look up close and for educational purposes, but also the enclosure we have her in was originally designed as a rehabilitation enclosure. So it was designed for short-term rehabilitation, not for long-term housing for wildlife. And so we are finding some negative long-term housing effects on our cormorant in this enclosure. She's developing every winter. She develops foot lesions that we have to treat to make sure they don't get infected. And it's just because this enclosure was not designed for long-term care. So this new enclosure, we've taken into account all the proper perching we may need and substrate and all that fun stuff. We've researched other zoos and facilities that house these birds to make sure we're getting all the right stuff for her, because we want to make sure all our animals are getting the appropriate quality or care and they have good quality of life while they're staying with us. So yeah, that's the yeah, so she would be in there permanently, and she'd be much happier for it. So
Great, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'll just add too, this is a project, we're not solely looking for funding from grants. Like you guys, this is a project that we've been putting out on our Facebook, trying to get community support for as well. Right now we're about 25% of the way there on that budget. So we've raised about 12 grand. But of course, any other support we can get is obviously super helpful. We're super hopeful to at least start construction on this enclosure this summer. With whatever funding we have for it, at least start getting the supplies and some of those posts put in there and at least get construction started while we're building this or while we're still fundraising. But yeah, so it's a project we've been looking forward to for a few years now, and finally have it all put together and hopeful to get that funding for it.
Thanks. Any other comments or questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about your project and the work you do. And thanks for being here today. Thanks for all you do for our wildlife.
Well, absolutely. Thank you guys for all you do for the nonprofits in our communities. I certainly appreciate the continued support that we've gotten here at the center. So, and it's good to see some of your faces too. It's been a while.
Yeah, we're all hoping we'll be sitting around a table next year. So
yeah, for sure.
All right. Thank you again.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, it looks like we're at our last presenter, Coaster Theater Playhouse. And I do see Patrick on the call there.
Hello.
And looks like it's 11:50, so perfect timing.
All right. Hey, good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Just to give you a little orientation with our Zoom setup here, we've got a 10-minute window, and if you get to 5 minutes or so, I'll just give you a little wave so you know we've got a couple minutes to wrap up and leave a little time for questions. But other than that, the mic is yours, and thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to ask me questions.
Well, we can do that too. We can go straight to it. It's really your preference. If there was anything you wanted to present or talk about to us ahead of time, you can do that. You know, that's really your time.
Well, I'll just summarize what I've done then is I've requested funding for next spring 2022 and next summer camps. That's what the funding request is for the 21-22 year. But there's also an issue with last year, the 2021 should have been utilized for camp this summer. Yeah, this summer. And we won't be doing camp again, just because of the situation, although things are looking more promising at the theater right now. A side note in that respect, we're going to be doing 2 productions in the park this summer. One on Shakespeare on Friday nights and a mini musical murder mystery on Saturday nights. And then we hope to open the theater in October 1st with a Dorian Gray piece. And we plan to open at what we're calling high risk protocol. So at that point, we would only be allowing 50 people in the theater. So probably 40 audience members and 10 staff and performers and things like that. However, as we all know, things are changing daily with all those different protocols and rules. So we are flexible and are you know, if we can open to more people, we will. So with that said and done, so we opted not to do summer camp this year. There was still too much involved, and kids aren't vaccinated and all of that stuff. So I still have the money from last year, and I didn't know if you want to roll it over for, you know, next year, or if I could use that money when we reopen again. I'd like to maybe bring in a children's theater group. I mentioned, I think, the Milagro Theater, which is a Spanish English theater out of Portland. I'd like to do something that has some diversity and inclusion. I'm also going to be reaching out to the Native American Society here on Clatsop County. I realize there's another audience that we really aren't addressing. So I would like to, if possible, use that money to maybe bring in some sort of performance that's kid-oriented for children. However, I don't know if maybe I should just give it back to you guys. You know, I don't really know how to do that. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. I still have the money from last year, which is $4,460, and then I've submitted requests for the 2 camps next year, totaling $7,800. And the monies simply cover the cost of my camp director. They cover the cost of his travel and his room and his pay. But what that does is by covering those costs, I don't have to charge the children any fee. So they really can get the camp for free. However, I usually will charge like a $25, $50 activity fee, because I have found that people are more committed if they actually pay a little fee. If they don't pay anything at all, then they sign up and don't show up or whatever. So I found if there's a little tiny fee involved, then that seems to commit them to it. So that's where I'm at. Does anybody have any questions?
That's great. Well, and just to respond to your question, I think that's something we're in a little bit of an unusual situation this year. A lot of folks are, so we can get some an answer to your question about last year's funds and kind of how to proceed with that. And I think staff can help us with that. I don't know exactly what the procedure would be for that, but we'll take that up and get back to you on that. So at this point, I will, thanks for the update on that and kind of letting us know where things are. And I'll see if there are any questions from the committee members or feedback? Anything anyone would like to say? All right. I've just got a question just in terms of the camps. Are the kids are you producing a theater project with the kids? Is it learning about theater? Is it kind of just a little ballpark of like, what's the focus of the summer camps?
Summer camps are singing, acting, dancing, and usually there's a visual art component as well. So we focus on those three aspects of the art. Usually in camp, we will, the kids will just kind of determine our theme and then our play, and then they pick characters, and then I kind of mush it all together. We usually create some sort of little play that we do that has music in it, and then their artwork then is on display. And then the last day of camp, family and friends and community are invited to come see the little production that they do, and it's really quite delightful because, as you know, with kids and some kids, you know, it's like, oh, my kid's so shy, and to see them up there singing and dancing, you know, is really uplifting to the parents. So it's a really positive and good thing that we do here in camp. I usually get about 15 to 20, sometimes up to 25 kids. Most of them are, I mean, they're all local in that respect, although I will get kids from out of state who happen to be in town visiting grandma and grandpa or something like that. So I will get kids, which is kind of cool too. Then, you know, the local kids get to meet somebody from Kansas or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but it's a lot of fun. The camp is a lot of fun. It's been going on for, well, I've been here 11 years now. So my particular camp I've been doing, well, I can't say that because I didn't do it this year.
Great. Okay, thank you. Other comments or questions?
Oh, I did want to say, I actually did propose a program this year. I sent it out, and I was going to start it in May and continue it through August, and then hopefully in August do a safe live performance with the kids. And there was also a visual art component. I was going to partner with Child's Play, which is that new organization, or I don't know if they're new, but they provide art activities for kids. And they actually just did a show at the Chamber over Mother's Day weekend. So I was soliciting kids to get involved with that so we could submit artwork for that show, and then also continue with a combination Zoom live. But I only got 3 people interested in it. And I think it's really because I think parents and kids right now are just a little overwhelmed and tired of Zooming and all of that. And so I think I just don't think it grabbed. So I think it maybe had been totally live, it might have. But anyway, I did try to offer something.
Thanks. Okay, last questions?
I don't have a question, but Patrick, I just wanted to thank you for, on behalf of the Coaster Theater Group, for all of the efforts you've made to provide, you know, a welcome change for the community. The Shakespeare readings last summer were pretty much the highlight of my summer.
Who's speaking to me?
This is Les Sinclair.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I don't see your face.
I'm actually in the council hall.
Oh, I see your arm waving there. Great. Great.
Anyway,
well,
thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm hoping actually, and this isn't official at all, but I am hoping, speaking of community, we're going to be opening October 1st with a play, which will be a combination of locals and tourists and things like that. But I'm thinking that the week before I might do a concert with local band and kind of be more of a community event to celebrate the reopening of the theater before we bring the tourists all in. So again, I'm hoping that we can do something like that again to acknowledge how much the community supports what we do.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are, I think, unless there are other questions, I'll just thanks Patrick for being here. Thanks for all the work you're doing in the community, and appreciate your time.
Great. Thank you all so much, and have a lovely and safe day.
Thank you. You too.
Well, look at that, right on time, the 12 p.m. ending of presentations.
How about that? With time to stretch our legs in between. So, yay. Okay, let me just take a look here. Do we have anything for good of the order before we wrap up today?
I would like to remind everyone that there's going to be a Scotch broom event this Saturday from 10 to 1, and we're going to meet at Les Shirley Park. We're not doing it by Zoom. We're going right in. And we're going to try to get rid of all the Scotch broom at Les Shirley and at Nakus. So
thanks, Barb.
Them all.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, just a quick. Oh, I'm sorry, for somebody
I'm sorry.
else.
What time did you help? What time did you say?
And 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. If it takes
thank you.
that long. We have
Okay.
lots of people show up. We won't have to work till 1 o'clock.
Okay, awesome.
Meet at Les Shirley.
Okay.
Great, thanks. Just a quick reminder that your worksheets for the grants are due on June 14th. They're due to Kelsey, so please send them in to her by, is it end of the day on the 14th?
It's by noon on the 14th.
By noon on the 14th. And then she is compiled for our meeting on Thursday, the 17th.
Yep, and basically each one of you as a committee member gets to fill out your column on that Excel spreadsheet and decide with the available grant funding that there is for the community to distribute, decide how much you personally, individually would like to go to each organization. And then we take all of your individual member worksheets and come up with kind of a recommended average for discussion at your June 17th meeting.
We can take a look at those there and again have some discussion or questions, and then they'll go to council after we approve our own recommendations. All right. Well, I thank you all so much for your time and attention. Yeah, Les.
I'm sorry, Jillian. Something did occur to me for the good of the order.
Yeah.
There's been some conversation, and I don't recall whether the Parks Committee specifically was part of it, but Deb Ataya has been interested in the No Fireworks initiative within the whole of Cannon Beach. And my wife started working with her, and they have now created yard signs that will be made available for people to put out in their yards that basically say no fireworks in Cannon Beach on one side, and then they on the back they have a puffin and it says please keep our community beautiful, please don't litter. So there are yard signs that could be left out, you know, if you cared to. The reason I want to bring it up though is that my wife has been talking to the city and I believe has permission to post a number of these signs like in parking lots and in the city park just for the long weekend of the 4th, so that we're trying to get the word out that the city doesn't allow fireworks for this coming 4th. And I don't know how that, anyway, I just wanted to bring it up so everybody was aware of it.
Great, thank you. Right, because Deb brought that to our last meeting, and it sounds like it's moving forward. So that's great. Do you know where people can get the signs, the yard signs, if they want one?
So my wife is pretty much working with Deb on that. I think there'll be some information coming out. I don't know what those details are right now. I talked to Lynn, my wife, about maybe getting with Nancy McCarthy. Yeah, anyway, because her Facebook page is a pretty good community publication. And so they're looking for ways to get the word out, but I don't know exactly how it will be managed right now.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that's going forward, and that's something we can maybe revisit at the June go to the order and just keep track of how that's progressing and with the city. Anything else before we wrap up? All right. Well, again, just thanks to everybody for your attention. I know we're all looking forward to when we can sit around a table and have the presentations. We kind of got a different flow today, but everybody was right there and present the whole time. So really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks again to staff for all the technical assistance and coordinating and everything that you do. So much appreciated. And we will see you soon. We are adjourned. Bye.